To meet the challenges of this new decade and of the 21st century, W.R. Grace & Company has set in place a strict new policy on the environment.
As you all know, the 1990s are being called the environmental decade. Here at Grace, the environment is not a new issue. Our Calawayo mine, a 50% partnership, produces low-sulfur, clean-burning coal, an ideal fuel for today's energy needs. Our catalysts reduce automobile emissions, and our water treatment chemicals clean contaminated water. Today, our challenge is to extend this technology and know-how into all our operations, and each of us has a critical role to play. In this era, we must all be environmentalists.
The program to carry out this commitment to the environment is well underway.
In 1988, I established the Office of Environmental Policy under Hugh Carey, the former governor of New York, to ensure that every Grace facility, at a minimum, complies with all relevant environmental regulations.
In the last year alone, the company has spent $73 million putting equipment and experts to work protecting the environment.
Our charge is to define, communicate, and administer policy company-wide. In everyday terms, this means that we will oversee the environmental audits that each facility must complete to ensure compliance with federal, state, and local laws.
The Office of Environmental Policy's Task Force on Compliance is setting corporate standards for all operating units, emphasizing emergency planning and preparedness, requiring and reviewing environmental self-audits by groups and divisions, developing waste minimization programs with specific percentage goals in reducing hazardous wastes, improving communications with neighboring communities and with employees, and making sure every employee is aware of the company's commitment to the environment. To make sure all its plants meet these goals, Grace is investing heavily in the latest high-technology equipment, like this new waste treatment plant. Vance Bakeman, an engineer from the University of Maine, is the Chief Environmental Officer of Grace Specialty Chemicals.
We're very proud that last year we reduced, throughout America, all waste by 47%. We will carry that further, and our goal for the next 5 years is a 50% reduction in this waste, all waste.
The construction of these plants has allowed us to reduce our daily discharge to the river by 99.9% over what it was just 10 years ago.
Waste minimization is a major goal of all divisions of the company. At Grace's Cryovac plant in South Carolina, solid wastes are burned in a new waste-to-energy boiler, producing all the steam the plant requires.
There's a tremendous energy savings by utilizing our scrap plastics and eliminating sending it to the landfill.
Even waste paper is put to use through plant-wide recycling.
We have a goal of being able to treat all of our waste materials on our site so that we know that they have been properly disposed of.
That goal goes well beyond compliance with the law.
Compliance is not enough at Grace. We want to go beyond compliance, as some of our operations have already done.
A highly visible example of that policy can be found at Grace's Dewey and Olney chemical plant in Chicago. The tanks here were moved above ground 2 years ago, so any leaks could be seen easily.
We have a responsibility not to just do what the law dictates, but to do what is right for both our employees and the community. And our community, our closest community, is that neighborhood across the street.
Improving communications with communities around Grace plants is a key goal. In Nashua, New Hampshire, the plant's outreach program helps the city schools through projects coordinated by a Grace chemist.
We're on the forefront of technology here at Grace, and
It's very fulfilling to be able to share that enthusiasm with students. By having this partnership with the school district, we encourage our employees to go out into the schools and share their expertise with children in the community.
To the president of Grace Specialty Chemicals, there's been a revolution, internally and externally.
It used to be the Sierra Club and some other less recognized groups, but now it's kind of had a greening movement all throughout the population. Internally within Grace, we've got a much greater awareness. We have a much stronger feeling that we want to be out front.
The Colawayo coal mine is out front in an especially sensitive area, land preservation. The company has won awards for its reclamation work almost every year since it began mining here.
This area we have compared to the lands around here that haven't been mined, and our scientific data shows that this land has been successfully reclaimed. You don't see any erosion on here, and the vegetation that's being produced is being utilized as we anticipated for wildlife.
W.R. Grace & Company is making protection of the environment a top priority.
Our goal is to put in place environmental safeguards that are state-of-the-art, second to no other companies. Why are we doing this? First, because we have an obligation to pass on to future generations clean air, land, and water. And second, because doing business and making a profit in the 1990s will require it.
We've got to make money, yes. We've got our stockholders to worry about, we've got employees' jobs to protect, but more important than that, we can't be allowed to do those things unless we do them in a safe way.
Today's agenda is pretty full. We have 4 basic items.
The company-wide Environmental Compliance Task Force is carrying out that policy, giving a share of the responsibility to each employee.
Number 1, be sure you know and understand Grace policy. Number 2, recognize the fact that we have resources, so that number 3, when you identify a problem, you have to communicate it through the organization so that action is taken. I think if you remember those things, you've really done your part.
This program is being built on a solid bedrock of employee support.
We're able to provide energy for America, and at the same time we're protecting the environment, providing for a land that's capable of a lot of future uses.
Working as an employee in Grace, I'm going to do my best job to make sure things are safe.
Oh, I'm very concerned with the environment. I'm a hunter and a fisherman, for one thing, and I live right here in town.
I was hired to do a waste minimization program and plan for the Grace site, and so I feel very strongly about environmental issues, which is why I took the position here.
My commitment is to do the best job I can as an individual, and if I see anything I feel it's not right, to report it.
As one of the largest companies in the industry, Grace plays a major role in the Chemical Manufacturers Association's Responsible Care program to safeguard the environment. 2 years ago, the company hosted a series of meetings between business and environmental leaders. These leaders recommended creation of a White House Council on the Environment and Industry, and the plan went to the President of the United States as part of the environmental community's blueprint for the environment. Clay Peters was the executive director of that program.
I'm encouraged to see leadership come out of organizations like W.R. Grace to move ahead with those of us in the environmental community that realize we have to try to come to some more common solutions.
Cooperation among environmentalists, businesses, and government is the cornerstone of the Grace commitment.
Today, business and government must work together to meet the environmental challenge. At Grace, this means that compliance with environmental laws is a job of each senior officer, operating executive, and plant manager. It's a team effort all the way. In the business climate of the 1990s, nobody has a choice. Protecting the environment is everybody's job.
Make no mistake about it. The commitment starts at the top. If we don't protect our precious land, air, and water, if this generation continues to pollute the planet that it lives on, when our children and our grandchildren grow up and realize what we've done to them, ask yourselves, will they ever forgive us?